we'll get the hard one out of the way. Obviously, you're done. Cat's done for the year. I'm curious. Can you kind of get into the nature of that injury and then just kind of how you're moving forward off of it?
Just, I mean, I'll let her talk about it as much as she wants, but, a season-ending knee injury, and so obviously the last thing you want, for anyone. And it was, devastating to see her go down, and didn't look good, right off. And so we kind of knew. The really unique part of the timing was it was 2 hours before we left on our team retreat, and which is always a really special time for our team each year. And she came with us, and so we were with her, for the next, 40-ish hours, as she was in the uncertainty of not knowing, which was special to see our team rally around her. And, she's in great spirits. Surgery is scheduled, and, and I'm hopeful she comes back, and that's what it sounds like she wants to do. And in the meantime, she, gets to learn a unique perspective that's nobody would choose, but we know that there's a lot of value in adversity, and she seems to have the perspective to really capitalize on that. And, her voice is just steady throughout practice each day, and I know that will continue. And so heart goes out for her, or to her, and we just have told her we got her.
It would obviously be a medical year for her to get a 7th for next season. How does the eligibility with that work? And, you guys obviously sound confident she'll be able to secure one.
Yeah, she hasn't redshirted yet, so I would assume, we're assuming so, and it sounds positive, but I can't speak into the details of it.
Hey, Scott. We haven't interacted much, but Ryan from Oregonian. Just
Hey, Ryan.
wanted to ask you about this year's team, what they do well, and what you've seen, these first few weeks.
Man, they play hard. I mean, that's what I've seen. I've had to kind of work to back them off a little bit because we go at each other so hard. And the season's long, and so I've needed to be a little bit careful with it. But I think this is a very traditional Oregon State team. That's what I'm seeing. We have bigs. The bigs were kind of the question mark and are the question mark. We haven't, played a game yet. But I love what I'm seeing from them. Of course, we have Elisa returning, but bringing Lizzie and Nene in was the big question mark to the year. What are they going to provide for us? Neither of them played much a year ago due to injury. Are they going to be healthy? And they are. And so it's been fun, bringing them along and seeing what they're capable of. And so the pieces around them, even with the loss of Kat, we have a lot of experience, back. I think great guard play, a commitment to the defensive end of the floor, and size throughout the roster. That's what we're used to historically. And so I love the mindset. And so I don't know, I'm very optimistic about who we can become.
And how is the group meshed at this point? Obviously, they, have last year's experience to build on, but
Yeah.
how are they meshed?
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. And that's just who we are. That's as on brand as anything. And so day one, it felt like, and they would say it, felt like we've known each other forever. And that is cultural. It's been here forever. It's the standard here. Welcome the new people, empower the new people. And I don't care if you're a grad transfer or a freshman, you're somebody here day one, and they've honored that. So great leadership throughout, just like AJ and Kelsey and Sela, provided a year ago, and I'd include Ken with that, even though she was only a sophomore. Just welcoming everybody in, and we've got people from all over the world, on this roster, and it's really remarkable to see a group that has that much diversity on it. Just gel like they have. So for me, that's what I enjoy walking into each day. It's very rewarding to be a part of that, and I feel very fortunate, that that's the case already. And so Kat's situation obviously provided some adversity already. Games are going to provide that. You don't want it in the way we've received it so far, but just the response to it has been so encouraging that this is just a group of great people that are high character and mature. And Yeah, and so therefore, those are kind of prereqs to reaching your potential as a group, and that's by design. That's who we look for in the recruiting process, and I feel like we have that.
And obviously, in what has been a tumultuous time in college sports, you guys, keep the roster from last year together. How valuable is it that those players who are back went through what they did last year and having a low point and then climbing back up to where they did and being able to make the run that you did?
Yeah, there were a lot of low points. Looking back, the obvious ones before the team was brought together, and then, just it was such a journey with the group, learning how to play, bottom line, and how to compete. And so I think in this day and age, what an advantage that is, when you have consistency within your roster from year to year, and to have 9 return, and I would assume is an advantage. I guess it could be maybe a false advantage if you forget how hard it was, and kind of get lulled into thinking it was easy, which is human nature. But I don't sense that with this group. I think they just know who they are from a competitive standpoint. And, when you add a player like Jenna Villa, who's been through it as well at a different place, but knows exactly what we're doing, and how hard it is to compete, not only in the conference we're in now, but the Pac-12 as well, the former Pac-12. That's a huge asset to us. And so I think, hopefully we'll be able to capitalize, on that consistency, and we'll be able to hit our stride competitively a little bit sooner this year.
Scott, kind of talking about Jenna, last year at the beginning of the season, there were obviously some issues, one of them being the three-point ball. With her ability to be able to shoot the ball from range and at a consistent level, just how much of a difference maker do you think she'll bring to this team, not only early in the season, but of course throughout the season as well?
I've been so impressed by the way that she's come in, the confidence that she brings. When she popped into the portal, my mind not only went to, okay, I've watched her since she was a freshman in high school, being in Seattle and playing for a program I watched all the time on the circuit. But I just remembered a play where she put her shoulder down into AJ and just drove the ball at her and scored at the rim. And it was kind of one of those like wow moments, and I wanted a charge call. I was fighting against it, but at the same time I was like, dang, that was impressive. Good job, Jenna. So my mind went to that and her development, and just, I'm a fan of her. I always have been. And everything that I've thought has happened, and maybe a little bit more. She's so coachable. She's playing with a chip on her shoulder, a healthy chip. She plays right. So she's adapted so quickly, and has a voice in the gym already because of what she's done. You hear her. I commented after practice a couple days ago, just that her voice. She shot the ball extremely well. I think it was Friday, but her voice was even more impressive to me. Just the leadership and the things that she was saying really helped galvanize the team in the gym. And so I'm excited to find ways to use her and utilize her, and as I get to know her game more and more. And so I think, I say it a lot, but in this instance, it just seems kind of like perfect person, perfect time.
Two more players to kind of talk on, Tiara and Kennedy, who we're going to talk to in a second. Both of them last year showed tremendous growth. Obviously, Tiara coming from the community college level and her growth throughout this whole system, and then Kennedy being thrown to the situation she was and meeting it head on, big time moments, obviously, in the WCC tournament. What have you seen in their growth and development this offseason, and just how much of a bigger role do you see them both taking on this season now that they're each a year older?
Yeah, I think, with Tiara's year, it's a bonus year. Nobody saw it coming. She was done, and, we had her for 1 year, and then, the rules change, and we adapt, and so feel really fortunate and blessed that she decided to come back. And so we had a spring and a summer that was bonus time, so we went to work, and it was fun working with her, just helping her to continue to develop her game and getting time that we didn't get to spend going into last year. And so I just see a different level of confidence and understanding of what it takes. I see, her ability to play the one is helpful. She did that a little for us a year ago. So I see her expanding and being more versatile, and then just efficiencies are all notching up, So I don't know, she's an amazing story, and so having this extra time is, to me, special. With Ken, natural progression, floor leader, been there, done that, go-to player down the stretch last year, making plays, and now you're just seeing her basically eliminate all mistakes. I mean, that's what you hope, So I just look at efficiencies all the time, and are you impacting it positive? How often are you impacting it positive? How many different ways are you impacting it positive? And Ken's basically just kind of dominated, the fall so far, and you'd expect it, I think, but she's ready to take the next step as a player. I think more of a scorer, more of I don't know. I mean, she's just doing everything that you would expect your floor leader to do, and she sets the tone for us, every day, and commands respect with the way that she walks in the gym, which you can't ask any more than that from your point guard.
Last year, there were no doubts just how special that season was, the run that you guys made at the end to win the WCC tournament, to make it to the NCAA tournament despite all the adversity this team faced, and you described multiple times how special that group was last season, how special that season was. Mm-hmm. How special do you feel like this group can be, and why do you feel like it is that way heading into this season?
Yeah, it's unique. I mean, what made last year's team so special was because we handled so much chaos and adversity in so many ways, and they just stayed positive through it all. There was never this roller coaster of anything. It was just kind of like, okay, let's get a little bit better today, and that was a miserable game. Let's just get better and have fun today, and then it all just added up, and then you hit the last 12 games of the year where we were like a different team because they just stayed with it. This team, will have the opportunity to do that same thing. We have some people that are in different roles, and some people that have some things to prove, that has some similarities. I think we can hit it sooner because of the consistency that we have within our roster. But I think they have kind of the same opportunity. I mean, this group hasn't done anything yet. I would assume we'll be predicted to have a good year as opposed to a year ago. But I don't care about that. We haven't done anything yet. So who will they become? All the signs that I'm seeing, I like what I'm seeing. So I think we're going to be a typical Oregon State team that's a tough out every night.
Over the years, some freshmen have come right in and played big roles for you immediately. Mm-hmm. Do you see that as a possibility with any of the three freshmen in this class? And how are they looking?
Yeah, Katie, Kira, and Lara, all very talented, all have played at a high level, in both Australia and Spain. We see that consistency or that experience paying off here. They've adapted extremely well. The normal, things are happening. I mean, there's, turnovers and bad shots from time to, just decision making. But I just love the progression that they're on. And so I think they all have a shot. I don't know yet. We haven't had our first scrimmage yet, to see who we actually are against another team. And so I'm projecting, but they all have the tools and the abilities to make an impact. They're unique. Laura's more of a post player. She's played mostly 5 in her life to this point, and now she's playing more 4. And then Kira has the ability to slide to the 4, but she's more of a wing, a physical wing, and Katie's a shooter, a perimeter. We just catch and shoot and then plays out of that. And she's demonstrated that she can take people off the bounce and get to the rim. It's impressive, actually, when she does it. And so I'm excited about all 3. And I can't predict exact roles yet, but I'm getting close.
It's natural to talk about last season compared to this upcoming one because it's all the information we have. But any kind of pressures associated with this upcoming season or anything that you kind of wanted to make a very stark difference from last year to this year?
I think anytime you're coming off a year where you've cut a net, no matter how you get to it, there could be some false expectations, that you kind of have to manage through as a competitor. And it is what it is. Reality hits at some point pretty hard every year, and so then that year just kind of goes away. So those types of things, I mean, we've talked about it. We've had some good conversations, like, you can easily get tricked into thinking, like I've said, it was easier than you remember, but man, we played hard last year. I mean, that year got everything we had, and it culminated in such a great moment. Well, in order to recreate that and do it again, it's going to take the exact same thing, and that hunger and that desire, that last year's team had. And so as we go, I know that will happen. I've heard them talk about their hunger and what they want this year. I've heard them respect their opponents, respect the conference. So I'm optimistic. And so I think I always welcome, all of that, the high expectations or the low expectations. And it's just part of our story, and I'm excited to see how this group manages it.
You talked about the guard rotation and in the post. How are things kind of working out on the wings right now?
Man, I think good. I mean, the one person we haven't mentioned yet is Allie. Allie played such a huge role for this team last year, 31 minutes in the conference championship game, as a walk-on, who obviously became a scholarship player. And she's better. You can just see the confidence, in her. With Tiara, with Sue, we have veterans. I've even used Chloe over there at times, and we could slide Ken over there. I mean, Ken's very talented at the wing as well as the one, and then with the freshmen, I mean, there's lots of places to go, and I haven't even said Jenna, and so we're deep, and it will be interesting to see actually how it all starts playing out, once we get into live competition.
Coach, I know this game is way down the road, but with the return of the Oregon State rivalry, obviously later this year, I'm just wondering, what does it mean to have that game back for you, considering it's the first time we've had a chance to talk with you with the return of that series this year?
It's a non-conference game, in a place where, we've had a lot of great games, down there against, our oldest rival, and so there's certainly a charm to it. And so it's just, looking forward to it.
I'm just curious if you guys have like a motto, slogan, or if you could just verbalize the standard going into the season.
Yeah. Well, I'll share mine with you, and then I'll let our TR and Ken share theirs. But for me, I'm the same every year. Reach our potential. That's it. And so, they hear me say every day is game day all the time. They get sick of it. And so that's where I'm trying to keep their minds right now. But for me, I have one focus, and that's it. It is just for this group to push them, to push the right buttons at the right time, so that this group reaches its potential, which I think is going to be special.
Let this be last one.
Andrew's getting his steps.
We're going to start with a fun one, Scott. Over the summer, the team obviously went out to the golf course and had a little time at the tee. I'm just wondering which players gave you the most difficulty out on the golf course if you were there with them, and who surprised you the most?
I wasn't there. Yeah.
Did you get the stat book afterwards?
No, I didn't. I just hope they have fun out there. And so for everyone, golf is just for your enjoyment. Don't take it too serious. Yeah. Please do us all a favor.